guys, welcome to the Medzis where education meets excellence. So today we are going to talk about arteriosclerosis and I'm going to simplify it for you guys. So let's start and go ahead. So I have written arteriosclerosis. So we are going to break this word first in order to understand its meaning. Arterio means obviously artery and sclerosis literally means hardening. Okay? But in order to explain it better, I am going to say that arteriosclerosis means non-elastic arteries which are hard. So arteriosclerosis means that the vessels have become hard and they are non-elastic. It has 4 types. And in order to simplify it, I have made a list of specific traits on which we are going to compare these 4 types. Number 1 is Monckeberg medial sclerosis. Number 2 is Arteriolosclerosis. And number 3 is Atherosclerosis, which is the most notorious. And the number 4 type is Fibromuscular intimal Hyperplasia. So the number 4 type, which is I just said, I am going to write it as FB, and this is the type which is explained by the medium Robbins but not Dr. Najib. So moving on, I will first consider these 3 and then in the last I will explain this one. So in Monckeberg, the vessels which are involved are the upper limb vessels, okay? And in arteriolosclerosis, there are arterioles involved, and in atherosclerosis, cerebral and carotid and organ vessels are involved. So these are the vessels which are actually involved. On the complications and mechanisms. So moving on to the mechanism, in Monckeberg medial sclerosis, as we know, and a vessel has an endothelium here, and then tunica intima, which is here, and then tunica media. Okay, so in this one, Monckeberg, there are calcium deposits in the tunica media. Yes, the second layer, tunica media, and it is actually not a lethal sort of deposit, and it occurs in greater than 50 years of age, and is actually non-lethal. So if you want to have a disease with better prognosis and better age, that would be this one. Moving on to the next, there is arteriolosclerosis. So in arteriolosclerosis, arterioles are being involved, okay? So arterioles are involved and the deposits are in tunica media again. So arteriolosclerosis has 2 further types on the basis of type of pigmentation and also the pathological picture. So it has hyaline arteriolosclerosis and it has hyperplastic arteriolar sclerosis, and I'm going to write it as hyper. So what happens in hyaline arteriolosclerosis is that, okay, here it is a vessel, okay, and I am writing only the medial part. So if you think it is a media. Okay, to explain it further more, I'm going to say it's the endothelium and this is tunica intima and this part is here, which is the media. So there are hyaline deposits composed of extracellular matrix, yeah, I just said that, and also plasma proteins. So these are hyaline deposits of extracellular matrix, which is a tongue roller, and a lot of plasma protein, and this leads to ischemia and stenosis. So obviously the vessel will get narrowed. As you can see, the lumen is narrowed, and then as it is narrowed, the end organ which is being supplied by this vessel, by this arteriole, is going to be ischemic. So hyaline is further divided into 2 types. So hyaline has 2 examples. One is the physiological example and the other is pathological. So in physiologically, hyaline arteriolosclerosis occurs in old age, and also old age, yes. And pathologically, it occurs in essential hypertension and diabetes mellitus. So none of you guys, I think if you guys will remember, I did not tell you the type of vessel which is being involved. So in hyaline, the example of the vessel being involved is the afferent arteriole of the kidney. Afferent and efferent both actually. So in hyperplastic this happens due to the stress on the vessel becomes very characteristic. It's like very characteristic. So I'm going to tell you what happens. So there are two basement membranes. I'm going to thicken it to show it has two basement membranes. Then it has a lot of concentric rings of smooth muscle cells which have become hypertrophied, and they are showing hyperplasia as well. So there are concentric rings, a lot of rings of smooth muscle cells. Okay, and between these rings there is a necrotic area. So in hyperplastic arteriolosclerosis, there is a necrotic area, there is a lot of rings of smooth muscle cells, and there is double basement membrane. So this is arteriolosclerosis. Moving on to the last one, which is like really important, that is atherosclerosis. So athero comes from the Greek word and it means gruel, and gruel means hard. Atherosclerosis, so unlike arteriolo and Monckeberg atherosclerosis, in arteriosclerosis, atherosclerosis has intimal masses. So the masses actually grow in tunica intima, and these are fibrofatty masses, and these masses, they have a soft core, soft friable core, as it is written by Medium Robbins, and they have thick fibrous cap covering it. So in order to draw it, I am going to draw this lumen which is pinched because they impinge, and then this is the internal elastic lamina, sorry. So this is the lumen, and here it is the tunica intima, and this is actually the fibrofatty mass which is impinging on the vessel. Okay, and there is stenosis, not obstruction. The word is stenosis. It causes obstruction as well, but I'm going to explain it in the next video, in which we are going to deal with the pathogenesis of atherosclerosis. Okay, so this is, I told you the mechanism. Now I'm going to tell you the vessels involved. The vessels which are involved in atherosclerosis are the carotid, coronary, abdominal aorta, popliteal artery, etc., etc. Its complications are a lot. So the one which I told you was stenosis. It can lead to obstruction, and it can cause aneurysms by damaging tunica media. So these three are its complications, which are being written in your Medium Robbins. Moving on to the last one, and finally giving you guys a rest because I'm going a little fast here, and this is, fibromuscular intimal hyperplasia, and to tell you that it's a non-sclerotic process. Okay, and we have added it here because it leads to stenosis. It's a non-sclerotic process, occurs in vessels which are bigger than the arterioles, and it happens due to two things. One is inflammation, and the other is mechanical injury. Okay, so how inflammation leads to fibromuscular intimal hyperplasia, in which there are ECM rich and smooth muscle cell rich lesions in the vessel. Okay, so in inflammation, we can give an example of transplant. Yes, transplanted organs have inflammation because of the host response, and this inflammation leads to intimal hyperplasia. And in mechanical injury, I can give you an example of the most common process which occurs in the West and in the East as well, which is angioplasty, in which we use a balloon and open the vessel and then put the stent in, which keeps the vessel open. But unfortunately, sometimes the vessel has become so weak it gets ruptured. So in mechanical injury, fibromuscular intimal hyperplasia can occur as well. So I'm going to now end this small video with the last thing, and that is atherosclerosis. Okay, I told you it's a Greek word, means gruel, hard, and there is impinging of the vessels. So this is, here is a vessel, this here is tunica intima, this dotted lines is the internal elastic lamina, and here it is tunica media full of smooth muscle cells. So whenever there is a source which can cause an atheroma, which is commonly known as atherosclerotic plaque, okay, to form, so this plaque forms underneath the endothelium and in the tunica intima, and it has short friable core, which you can see, and it is composed of cholesterol and cholesterol esters, and it grows, and as it grows, it involves a lot of vessels and a lot of cells, and these cells lead to the formation of the fibrous cap, which is what we are going to study in the next one. So this grows and impinges the lumen, okay, impinges and narrows it, which is medically called stenosis. So lecture here is done, and we learned that in Monckeberg medial sclerosis there is deposition in tunica media. In arteriolosclerosis there is deposition in the tunica media. In atherosclerosis the deposition is in tunica intima, and in fibromuscular intimal hyperplasia the deposition is usually found in the case of transplanted. Hope that you understood my points, and if you did, give us a thumbs up and share this video with your friends and subscribe to our channel, which is the Medzis.